That's funny because I did not. I did not have a sense of, possessing anything out of the ordinary in terms of my voice growing up. I think I was always surrounded by music. I think one of my first experiences of like art or music at a heightened level was in church. The church choir would always like sing before the scripture for that day was read, and 4 rows, and there was the different parts called first part, second part, tenor, bass. That was years before I learned that soprano, alto, mezzo soprano, and so I was always surrounded by beautiful voices. My grandmother told me that my mother had a beautiful voice, and so she always loved it when I sang, and we'd often sing together. But I think, and it's true, amongst my cousins, I think I was the one who could better hold a tune in the house. But my aunts, they were good singers too. Maybe I would say it wasn't until high school, when I was 11th grade, is when we had a new conductor, and then he encouraged me and a couple others to apply to be in the solo category of the voice music competition. And that's when I sang. I remember it was The Trumpet Shall Sound from Messiah by Handel, and I emerged as the winner in the regional B category, which is the lowest category. But it was a good feeling. I was like, okay, I think it was the first time I stood on stage and sang for an audience on my own, and I got my first trophy ever that day. I think that's when I started maybe realizing that I had a voice that was, that had something to say, that was, people felt compelled to listen to. And the next year I just kept getting better. But no one really back home said, you should pursue this as a profession, because like I said, it's virtually non-existent. You can even, just non-existent. But when I got to Duke and I decided, I had never taken a voice lesson before, or any music lesson, couldn't read music, didn't even know that the squiggles on the page meant anything, until I was in Armenia and tried to start a choir. And I realized everyone else expected us to learn music that way, and I had no idea. And so I had Hannah, I think was the name of this girl. She was from Sweden, so she became a music director. She could play the piano and she could read music. And so when I got to Duke, I saw a flyer, orientation week, advertising music lessons, voice lessons. And so I was like, yeah, I signed up. I had the goal of just taking the voice lessons for 1 semester, just out of curiosity. 1 semester in intro to music theory, 1 semester intro to piano, 1 semester. Well, we all know that became more than 1 semester, which is why we're here today. But one of the early lessons, my voice teacher, Susan Dunn, sat me down. I came in for my lesson, and she was still at her desk. And I was perplexed. She said, "Oh, sit down, we just want to talk today." And I was like, oh boy, I'm in trouble, because I had no practice in terms of how to be a music student. I was supposed to practice every day for at least 30 minutes. I never did any of that. I just didn't think I didn't see the importance, which I was very wrong. Of course, I was like, oh no, that's just going to give me a talking to, because every time I come to my lesson, I'm not much better than I was the previous week. But she just said, oh, what is your major? Have you thought about, majoring in music? I was like, pfft. I think I laughed at the idea at the time. I was like, no way. And it was like, maybe a minor. I was like, I think I want a minor in Spanish. So maybe, music, I don't know. And she wasn't very pushy. The conversation, I remember it very well. She just basically gave me the understanding that she thought I had what it takes to be a professional opera singer, and that I had, I was talented enough to pursue. And that's perhaps my earliest memory of anyone recognizing that or telling me that. And I must have been 21, 20 at the time. and so it was, you know, sort of later in my life. But I remember that conversation because it meant so much for me, from someone who was in an internationally renowned opera singer, sang with Pavarotti. Everyone had, you know, like Grammy and all these things. And she's not the kind to say things just to make you feel better, Susan. And so I think that I took that with me, and I was like, okay, maybe I do have something that's, you know, more than just an, you know, an ordinary voice. And the following years, I sort of, you know, I built on that realization and sort of and understanding.